Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Hello, everybody.
Hi, fellers.
Fellers. Hey,
Yeah.
what's up, fellers?
We need to change it from hello, everybody.
I know.
So I'm just saying hello, fellers.
Okay, we're gonna start doing hello, fellers. Hello, fellers. But, welcome. Today we're doing the Goblin Viewz of the Harley Quinn show. This was a show that came out, not that long ago.
Like 2 years ago.
I think 3 years. No, I think it was 2018. Anyway, but it's been a little background. It's been in development hell for a long time because it started with that. I just think it's an interesting fact that DC's tried to do that. What was it even called?
What, the streaming service? Yeah, I can't remember, but
what it was called.
DC had its own streaming service.
Yeah, that they tried to do, and it fucking failed. And we were supposed to get cool shit from it, like that Swamp Thing show.
And it just didn't work out.
But, anyway. So, let's start with, I guess let's get into it. Would you recommend Harley Quinn? The TV show.
We're starting right off with just that.
I don't know. What do you want to... This is only our second one. We're sorry if we're a little disoriented.
Yeah, no, I'll start by just saying, yeah, this is going to be a positive review. I liked it.
Okay, and I'm going to say I recommend it as well. So, I guess getting into the story of it? I don't know.
Well, I think first we should just talk about some themes, like what someone who wouldn't want spoilers, how to recommend it to them.
Yeah. If you like Batman stories, I'd even recommend it if you just like Batman stories.
I mean, yeah.
Well, they joke about that. I mean, not to spoil what we're going to talk about later, but they joke about that a lot in the show, is that people who actually watch Batman would probably like the show.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, I don't even like Marvel and DC stuff that much. Like, I'm not a huge fan. I like things here and there, but I'm just not like a huge fangirl over it. And like, this is like one of my favorite comedies. It's really funny.
Yeah, that's the thing is I went into it. I had watched the few trailers that came out, and I was like, oh, that looks... somewhat funny. But I wasn't, sold on it just because... I think when it got announced, that was the time when DC was still doing, the Batman versus Superman was around that time, I think. So,
yeah.
And I didn't mind Batman versus Superman. I probably preferred it more than most people. But... what was I? It just made me skeptical. You know what I mean?
Yeah, skeptical about DC stuff.
Yeah, DC was doing a bunch of. I didn't like Man of Steel. I liked Batman versus Superman, but it's not the best thing ever made. You know what I mean? It's not The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So I was obviously skeptical, and just with Harley Quinn, I was also very oh, they're making a whole TV show about a character whose whole personality is that she is devoted to one person. I was one of those people at the time when it came out who was like, I don't think that's going to work just because I didn't think her character worked without the Joker.
Yeah.
But I think this show is... I will honestly say I think this is one of the smartest DC written things in a very, very long time. I mean, the Suicide Squad just came out, so that is a long time after it started, which is, I thought we both thought the Suicide Squad was really good, but I don't know, I think it's probably the best DC thing since the Dark Knight. I don't know. Has there been anything else that you can think of?
I don't know. It's like I mildly enjoyed Shazam.
Well, yeah, Shazam was fine, but it's if I was to think about something that I've watched for a story that's kind of like actually had an impact on me, if I'm comparing Shazam or the Harley Quinn show with the Harley Quinn show
By a landslide.
Yes. Yeah, no, I think it's since The Dark Knight.
Really?
Yeah. I keep eyeing and umming a lot.
You're good. Just think about saying real words.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just besides being about Harley Quinn, this show doesn't even like... The most interesting parts aren't even hinged on her character. The most interesting parts to me are like underscoring DC tropes and like making fun of them and having fun with them. And we'll go more into detail with that later, but it's just like it's crazy how funny it is with DC just making fun of themselves for once.
Well, the thing I wanted to say is it's called the Harley Quinn show, but there's a hell of a lot of episodes that don't even have Harley Quinn in it. Like either that or minimally. There's a lot of episodes where she's not the main focus, which I think is really interesting because it really like amplifies the universe it's trying to set itself in and the characters it's creating.
Yeah. I think it makes all the characters really lovable too because they don't just, I don't know, they're not edgy. I mean, I guess sometimes in like the comedy is really I mean, it's raunchy sometimes, but it's not really edgy like a lot of other DC stuff I've seen.
Yeah, it's definitely not dark and brooding.
Do we want to get into spoilers, though?
Hold on, I had one other thought. What I was trying to get at more is that this show, what I was saying about it's got a lot more than Harley Quinn. I was meaning that, like, I've never been a big fan of like Clayface or Dr. Psycho or a lot of these characters that are in this show. And, you know, King Shark is just a new thing that people are kind of getting attached to. And I think this show kind of started that. But I was just saying, like, if you wanted to go into this show looking for, like, a good, even, like, a Kite Man story.
I know, right?
Like, you get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's so odd, the amount of fan service you're getting, but it's not, like... fan service. It's literally just the universe that it's set in, but you're getting everything you'd like out of it.
Yeah, because it's creatively using the universe.
Yeah, it's creatively using, like, the characters. It's like, Kite Man is this, you know, I'm trying to watch this at work, so don't tell the boss. Alright, well, we'll keep a hush-hush for you, Roy.
Yeah.
I guess, we're about to get into spoilers, right?
Yeah, we should get into spoilers.
Yeah, we're about almost 10 minutes in. I think that's about enough saying that we recommend it.
It's just definitely we recommend it.
Yeah, definitely go watch it. If like we will be putting this on YouTube, but I mean you can put it on keep this on in the background. Mm-hmm. I've already watched the series, says Rory here. Okay,
oh wow, really?
Awesome.
Huh.
All right. So the show starts out with I'm already researching that, I guess. With Harley Quinn and the Joker doing one of their good old Joker and Harley things. They're like, what, I think they're torturing a bunch of billionaires on a yacht in the beginning, right?
Something like that.
They're killing a bunch of billionaires for no reason, and
we don't need to get that super specific.
I just want to get like the basis of the series is that like the Joker fucks over Harley Quinn on this boat and leaves her to Batman, and she goes to Arkham, and through that we're given like the main meat and potatoes of the series, which is the relationship between Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. I'd say.
Yeah,
I'd say their friendship is definitely like the main focal point. Mm-hmm. That's all I wanted to get into like really high details with. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go through that with everything, but So what happens in the first season? The thing is, we watched the first season a little bit later than we watched the second season.
Yeah, well, the first season is just from the point where she stops being with the Joker to where
she forms her
to
crew.
where Gotham collapses.
Well, yeah, okay. So she forms her crew,
which is very interesting because, like, there's villains in the crew that everybody knows, but they're being used in ways that no other DC like show or movie or anything has used them.
It's also
oh, why is it your turn again?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh. It's also it has a lot of very important commentary in those first few episodes just about feminism. It seems heavy-handed at first, and you're like, oh, but, you know, what everybody was complaining about is that this show is like I was talking about before, people were complaining that the show is going to be feminism central or whatever that people like to complain about, right?
Yeah.
But I think that I really think that what it really keys in on is actually true and like weirdly connects to real life for like a superhero thing. Like the stuff where she's looking for the crew and she goes to
Maxi Zoos.
No, I wasn't going to talk about that part.
Oh.
I was talking about the part where she goes to like the businesses.
Yeah.
It's
that episode though.
I think it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. But she goes to the businesses and they're all for it because she's Harley Quinn. But then they realize she's not with the Joker anymore. So then she's like, oh shit, out of luck, and that's why she has to get like this shitty crew, or quote unquote shitty crew.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really interesting, because it's like it's being like truthful to how a real world is while being superheroes, but also it's like it's empowering because the people that she gets besides Dr. Psycho are like really good people, like Clayface and King Shark in that universe, and Poison Ivy are really good people.
Yeah, it's very sweet.
Yeah, so the first season's really just kind of setting up the universe. There's not a whole lot that happens until the very end of the season, huh?
I mean, there's the whole thing with, like, trying to get into the Justice League. Like, it's just her trying to prove herself as a villain. Because nobody believes in her anymore because she's not with the Joker. Because that was like the crux that everybody was like, oh, you need to be with the Joker.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing that the Birds of Prey movie, if anybody saw that, kind of hinges on, is like, oh, everybody thought that Harley Quinn needs the Joker or whatever, which is kind of like the only arc she can kind of take at this point, when she was literally like infatuated with this one person. It's hard not to make an arc that doesn't involve him in some way.
Yeah. I love how this story, like, really diverts that whole arc, though, especially in the second season. We won't quite get there yet, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess another, the second big plot point would be her trying to get into the Justice League, and then that leading into Poison Ivy and Kite Man. Yeah,
Poison Ivy and Kite Man start a relationship, which is really fun.
Yeah, so they meet at... there's an episode where... So, the writers of the show are clearly Jewish.
Yeah.
Like, so Jewish, it's awesome. It's fucking awesome to see Jewish writers, like, writing what they want to. I love it. But it's so clear that they're Jewish. It's like watching a fucking Seth Rogen film. But so it's the Penguin. His nephew is having a bar mitzvah, and they meet there, and then they start dating, and it's like this will they won't they, because Kite Man's kind of like not like a womanizer, but he's just kind of...
He's looking for love.
No, he's kind of creepy about it at first.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah, like he's not very good at it,
No.
clearly. And she's Poison Ivy, and her whole thing is that she hates everybody, you know? And the whole, like, going back to Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn's relationship, the whole kind of thing that their relationship hinges on is that they're the only two people, like, that they can be open with each other. Like, it's very interesting because they both are characters where it's like Harley Quinn, if she wasn't in love with the Joker, would probably not love anyone else, and it's like her friend, of course, would mean something.
Yeah.
And then with Poison Ivy, it's like, yeah, she has a shitty life already. I have no. So it's like, of course, any friend that she can get. And it's like, Harley Quinn's obviously, they're both good friends to each other.
Yeah.
You know, for supervillains. But... Oh! Another factor we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
Jimmy Gordon.
Oh, yeah, you really like Jim Gordon.
Jim Gordon! If you want a fucking really good Jim Gordon story... you should watch this goddamn show because Jim Gordon's a really big part in it. It's kind of odd to me how much they focus on Gotham. Just because it's Harley Quinn, I feel like they could do a lot more, but I know it's just because she's a Batman villain, they kind of...
Well, yeah, they don't want to, like, go to Jump City and Metropolis.
No, I know, but I just, like, want to see crazy shit. I don't know. Maybe we will.
Well, it's like you already saw more crazy shit than you really thought you had signed up for.
I honestly... we'll get into that, obviously.
Yeah.
What were we just talking about, though?
You were talking about Jim Gordon?
Oh, yes, Jimmy Gordon. He has a whole arc where he's a fucking deadbeat cop now. And he has to relearn through, like, the whole show, basically, to be a good cop again. And... What is he really doing at first? Not really much. He's just kind of, like, trying to be a good cop again by just, like, doing...
Well, they're trying to set up that he's, like... They're trying to set him up for arcs later because he's, like...
he's an alcoholic.
Yeah, he's an alcoholic. He really leans on Batman.
Like, heavily. He thinks like, there's, like, jokes constantly where, like... He thinks Batman's his best friend.
Yeah.
And he, like, constantly wants to get, like, Batman's contact information and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is funny. But it's just a whole arc through the first season of him needing to learn how to be a good cop just by doing different things. It kind of more has a head at, like, towards the end of the first season and the whole second season. But... What else do we have? So we just have basically the end of the first season, right?
I mean, yeah.
What happened?
It's just a huge spoiler.
Yeah, we're in the spoilers. So.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying though. At the end of the first season, there is like a whole plot that sets off where the Joker takes over Gotham.
Oh yes, I forgot that he I don't know why I forgot this. I think it's just because I have season 2 more prevalent in my head.
Yeah, because we just finished it.
Yeah, he like tricked Harley onto going on a date with him to learn about how to build a giant tower with his face on it. And the reason he uses that is so he destroys the Legion of Doom, which is
because he's pissy because Harley got into the Legion of Doom.
But so he destroys the whole fucking thing. What? And then he becomes like the ruler of Gotham.
Yeah, basically.
For like the whole up until the season finale. Which basically comes to a climax in the Joker tries to put Harley into... Oh, you know who we didn't talk about? Psy, who's played by Jason Alexander.
Yeah.
He's fucking hilarious. He's their landlord. They live in an abandoned mall, and he's their landlord. Well, they did it. Well, Poison Ivy did live in an apartment, and then she gets kicked out or it gets destroyed. I can't remember. Right?
Yeah.
Or I think it gets destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to move to the mall.
And he's literally just like, he's just an original character.
He's great.
Yeah, where he's a cyborg. His name is Cyborg Man.
Oh, I guess this one. Okay.
And yeah, he's just a cyborg with like these really convenient for the moment
tricks,
adaptations. Yeah.
He's not so much important until it's weird because the first season's really just setting things up for the second season, because it feels like all of these characters, it's like I feel like all of their really character arcs, because you don't really know anything about Psy until the second season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, that makes it sound like the first season is slow, but while you're watching it,
it's not at all.
It's not slow. No,
it's not at all. You're getting a lot of laughs and you're still learning a whole lot, and there's a little bit more that we're missing. Like there's a whole arc where Poison Ivy gets mad at Harley Quinn because she goes back to the Joker for a little bit or whatever.
Yeah, during that date.
During the date scene where he gets the idea for the tower. But the season ends with the Joker trying to take Harley to just some random... I don't know how he got this, but it's just a random vat of acid that will turn her back into a regular person. Mm-hmm. And the reason he wants to do that is because he feels that she is like his foil. So that if she becomes a normal person, he'll never have to deal with it again.
Yeah.
It'll be as if she was like never born or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, he ends up going in, and that's the tower falls, and that's how the season ends.
Yeah.
Kite Man comes and saves the day, and flies them out of there.
Well, actually, Ivy saves the day because she gets killed a couple episodes before.
Oh yeah,
the finale.
The Joker kills her. Yeah, and then Harley Quinn's tears bring her back to life.
Well, because she's a plant and she gets buried in the ground and then watered.
Yeah, which is really fucking funny.
Yeah.
But it's really shocking when she gets killed because it's just like a harpoon that gets shot through her fucking heart.
Yeah, it's really strange.
Like in a really sudden like joke moment too.
Mm-hmm. Well, because they're joking together. They're having a laugh together.
Yeah, they're having like a fun moment.
Mm-hmm.
But...
I mean, and that just really, like, at the end solidifies their relationship when Ivy comes and saves her.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then I think that's all I have to say about season 1.
Yeah, season 1's really good, but I think season 2 is... I just want to get into talking about season 2 because I think season 2 is, like, so fucking good.
Season 2 is really, really good.
It starts with fucking Gotham destroyed.
For most of the season.
No, it's not destroyed all.
Half the season.
No, because hold on. So it starts with Gotham being destroyed,
mm-hmm.
which instantly goes into Harley Quinn finding the formation of the Injustice League,
mm-hmm.
which is Two-Face, Bane, Riddler,
Mr. Freeze, and the
Penguin, yeah. And she gets frozen because not really a lot happens while Gotham's destroyed, does it? Until like the Injustice League just kind of happens.
Yeah, the Injustice League takes over because someone needs to start solidifying.
Or Harley Quinn had the chance and she didn't take it, so the Injustice League started. Yes, and then she gets frozen for like 4 months, and then Gotham becomes New Gotham,
mm-hmm.
which is Gotham separated. Or no, she kills the Penguin before she gets frozen.
No, she kills the Penguin afterward. Because he already has his turf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she wakes up 4 months later, and there's 5 sections Penguin. I don't know what they're all called. I know Bane Town.
Baneton.
Yeah. Riddler University. That's
Riddler U.
Yeah.
Two-Face has like the court and the police station.
Yeah, he doesn't really. I think he's just kind of the judicial system of the place. He doesn't really have an area or whatever.
I mean, he does. They just don't ever have to really go there.
No, because he kind of goes everywhere.
Yeah.
So basically, it starts out like a fucking video game, and she has to go out and kill every single one of these people who's wronged her. And you want to? Where does she start? She starts. So she kills the Penguin, but then she gets like in another injury again. Oh shit! We forgot to mention Batman.
Yeah, Batman's fucking gone.
Batman's fucking gone because he was in the Joker Tower, and now he's in a fucking coma.
Yeah. So he's absent.
Yeah, that's why. Oh,
also
shit! No, we missed a whole fucking plot point for season 1.
It's okay. We can come back to them. It's not a big deal.
No, but it's an important one.
The Justice League is gone too
because of the Queen of Fables.
Because the Queen of Fables puts them in a fucking fairy tale book.
So hold on, we got to go back. So season 1.
Oh my goodness.
No. We have to go back because the Queen of Fables is actually important. The Queen of Fables is a phone book. So she's a supervillain that the Justice League put into a phone book,
a tax book,
and she becomes a tax lawyer. And because she's like the most powerful thing, so towards the end of the season, she puts the Justice League in a fairy tale book. Mm-hmm. And they're gone too. So that's why all this shit's happening to Gotham.
Yeah.
So Batman's gone, the Justice League's gone. Harley Quinn can't do shit. No one's there to help Gotham, so the Injustice League takes over or whatever.
Yeah.
So then Harley Quinn wakes up. She kills the Penguin. And then she immediately goes to find her friends. And they're all kind of just doing the same thing they were doing before, just in the apocalypse. Mm-hmm. Or no,
they were trying to get her out.
Yeah, they break her out. They break her out when she's in a slab of ice, and it's fucking brutal.
Yeah, you liked all the parts where like people were getting ice blocks slammed into them. Well, because
they were actually like utilizing the fact that she was like in an ice cube, and they were like slamming her into walls against people, and it was like really fucking brutal. Yeah, this is like a super brutal. Like this show doesn't pull back any punches. They talk about really serious shit. They say fuck. They kill people constantly. Mm-hmm. There's a gag in the second one where a guy gets cancer because Harley Quinn shoots him with a cancer ray. But where were we? Now that we're back,
they're basically taking down all of the Injustice League.
So the second one they go for is the Riddler. Right?
Yeah.
But they instantly just kind of capture. But Clayface has an arc in that episode where he pretends to be a girl in the college campus, and Akasha thinks it's the funniest. Well,
I love that Clayface arc because they really like punch down on that whole obnoxious like actor thing, and the Clayface is like so intentionally like horribly obnoxious for like most of the duration of the show, and then that arc with the Riddler U thing, I'm just like where Clayface is playing a college girl, I'm just like, of course, being like a crazy supervillain, and I mean he's not really a supervillain in this, he's really sweet, but just being obsessed with being an actor, which
that's his whole thing though.
Yeah, which is a thing originally in the comics. It's just that they take it to
the
a comical extreme.
Yeah, they really do. It's definitely a lot different from like if you were to like only know Clayface like I did for a long time from the Arkham games. where he's in it for like 2 seconds and he's like, oh, the performance of a lifetime and stupid bullshit, you know what I mean? So it's a very fresh take on the character. I think all of these are kind of really fresh takes on the characters. I think it's like,
yeah, while retaining their original identities.
I'd honestly say this is like the most ambitious DC like show or like project that is not a comic book. Yeah. That isn't Injustice. Injustice was, I don't know, I'd say it's probably even more, because this season even gets fucking crazier with where it goes. But so they capture the Riddler in that episode, and they hook him up to a giant hamster wheel.
And he gets buff as hell.
He gets buff as fuck. And then the next episode, they go for Mr. Freeze. And that's a really good episode because it's just basically a Silence of the Lambs joke for like half of it. And then, so the whole plot of the episode is that Harley Quinn is all pissy because she doesn't think she can love again. And she sees that Nora Freeze is trapped in the ice, as we all know, because Mr. Freeze's whole fucking thing is that his wife is trapped in ice because she has a sickness and he's trying to cure it. We all fucking know this. But she thinks that it's a farce and unfreezes her. It's honestly shocking because
it's so fucked up.
No, it's shocking just because I never would have thought of this like happening in a Mr. Freeze arc. I don't know why. Just because it's like, oh, Mr. Freeze's whole thing is Nora's frozen.
Yeah.
But she's unfrozen, and she wakes up and she's instantly like, my love, you must have cured the irreversible illness that was going to take my life, and shit like that. And it's just like, oh my fucking god, they're really hamming this shit up.
Yeah.
So the episode basically ends with Mr. Freeze giving his own life to save his wife because of a weird blood transfusion that Poison Ivy can do.
Well, she's a doctor.
Well, yeah, no, I know, but the thing is, this whole part with the Mr. Freeze thing is so different from like almost every version of Mr. Freeze I think I've ever seen, because yes, he's like a nice guy and he's sensible in most of the shit that I've seen, but he's always like fit to violence. And in this version, I mean, I don't know, maybe he would be more fit to violence if it didn't go down the way it did, but I don't know, it's just interesting because it's like, you know, Mr. Freeze already loves his wife because he's dedicated his whole fucking life to doing this shit. But it really, like, drives it home when you're watching this motherfucker kill himself so she can live.
Yeah.
Which fucking ends up being for nothing in the end.
Does that piss you off?
It really does piss me off. We'll happen to bring up Maxie Zeus when we get to that part.
Yeah.
So...
I love that it pisses you off. I think it's hilarious.
It's funny, but it sucks. Well, so where do we go next after Mr. Freeze then?
Well, then it kind of just gets crazy because, like, I mean, they really could have gone with a very conventional.
Or no. Wait, they get after they kill Mr. Freeze, they get picked up by Two-Face. Yeah. Harley Quinn and
they gotta go to court.
And they gotta go to court, and Bane's the judge. But continue with your non-conventional whatever. Well,
because it could just be a thing where the whole season goes with just her killing them one by one.
Which I thought it was going to be, which it kind of like puts you into a false sense of security into thinking it's going to be.
But she only kills the Penguin, and it's like, yeah, she kind of kills Mr. Freeze, but he also kills himself.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting because then the plot just goes in whole different directions that you could not imagine. Like, it brings back Batman and it brings back the Joker.
Oh yeah, we get the Batman episode.
Yeah, there's an episode where Batman is totally crippled because of what happened to him, like, in the rubble.
And he wants to go fight really bad because that's just Batman.
Yeah.
That's, you know. But Alfred won't let him. It's basically like a dad and a teenager. I really like Batman a lot in the show. I think he's really good. Mm-hmm. Alfred's really good too. But the whole point of the episode is Batman goes against what Alfred says. He goes out and fucking Bane kills him, basically. Yeah. He fucking breaks his legs even more.
Bane, it's basically the famous Batman-Bane storyline.
It's a lot different, though.
It is a lot different, but they're taking the crux of it.
It's really cool, though, that they're doing that.
Yeah.
I think the way they do it is really interesting.
Because they take the crux of a famous, like, instance in comic and movie history where Bane just fucks up Batman, but it's in a completely different context where Harley Quinn has destroyed Gotham.
Yeah, and it's like he doesn't break Batman's back, but he fucking like throws him against like a metal fucking like balcony thing and breaks his legs in half and shit.
Yeah.
It's so fucking brutal. The show is so brutal.
The show is really brutal.
Speaking of brutal, is it this season or the first season where Harley Quinn goes back home? When does that happen?
That's the first season.
Oh yeah, she goes back home after. Should we talk about that or no?
I mean, it's not super important, especially now that we're past, but it's just another episode where she like learns a lesson about who her true family is.
Well, no, I just was like thinking of the brutality of it. It's just like she goes home in one episode and it's like, is her dad still a deadbeat? And it's like, yes, her dad's still a deadbeat and tries to fucking murder her. And that's like the whole point of the episode, and it's just fucked up.
It is really
It's like there's no other point than her dad's a piece of shit and tries to kill her. But... So... Oh, is it still... Once they get picked up by Two-Face, they go to court, like we said, and Bane's the judge. And they get sentenced to life in the pit.
The pit, yeah. Which
is just a reference to The Dark Knight Rises. So Bane just lives in a big pit in the middle of the fucking desert where he's made like a rehabilitation for like psychopaths. So like Killer Croc's there. But instead of like eating people, he makes beanies that say God's dead.
Which is funny.
Victor Zsasz is there, but instead of cutting people, he does therapeutic meditation.
Yeah.
It's shit like that. It's really funny. But that whole episode basically is Harley and Poison Ivy setting up a riot, and they get out. In the end, and the end of the episode ends with them kissing.
Yeah.
Which is the big moment.
Yeah, the big halfway climax.
Because we forgot to mention that at this point, Poison Ivy is engaged to Kite Man. They have taken their relationship to the point where she feels comfortable to marry him. Mm-hmm. And they do have a very good relationship. They're very positive towards each other. They're very awkward in parts. And would their relationship have worked out? Probably not. But they were, like, good to each other still.
Yeah.
They definitely did have some issues still.
Mm-hmm.
But they kiss in the end. And then basically the whole season then derails into Harley Quinn feeling sorry for herself for, like, 7 episodes.
Yeah.
So sorry for herself that she learns from Dr. Psycho that you can call upon a mother box to visit Darkseid, and you can call upon Darkseid to apply an army which Harley then does.
Of parademons.
Yeah, she meets Darkseid and and fights Granny Goodness, and gets a army of parademons to take over Gotham because she feels sorry because Poison Ivy rejects her, obviously, because she doesn't want to cheat on Kite Man and she's having a good thing, and she just doesn't trust Harley Quinn to be able to handle
a stable relationship.
Yeah, handle a stable relationship effectively. Just because it was not that long ago that she had gone back to the Joker and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So then she brings all the parademons to Gotham, and right before she's basically about to take over the world, Poison Ivy stops her because she realizes it's not the thing that she wants, and that the thing that she wants is Poison Ivy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the show becomes, oh, so Harley Quinn's really just not a supervillain anymore, huh?
Yeah, not really.
And neither is Poison Ivy. I can imagine they're gonna do evil shit still, but it's they're not the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
They're not Darkseid.
Yeah.
It's very they're very human. It's very odd to say that about a character whose main archetype is that she loves plants, and another one whose main archetype is she's an obsessive clown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're very human, and I think the writing of this show, if I had to compare it to anything, I would say it's the superhero version of BoJack.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I felt some emotional moments, especially with Poison Ivy. They gave her, especially in the second season, a shit ton of monologues.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I don't know if they're drawing inspiration from it or if I'm just maybe seeing a parallel that's not there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But okay, now where are we into? They've kissed. Harley Quinn tried to take over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're doing the bridal shower.
Yeah.
Instantly, the parademons are still fucking up Gotham.
Yeah.
And they go on a bridal shower. We have Poison Ivy, Catwoman, Jessica, which is
Jennifer,
or Jen, because she likes to be called Jen now. Who is Poison Ivy's friend from kindergarten. And wasn't there another one?
Nora
Freeze. Yep. And the only reason she's there is because I feel bad because Mr. Freeze is dead. And they go there. They go to. This is so interesting. So since it's so smart how they write this. So since the Justice League has been gone, one of the people at what's the place where Wonder Woman lives? What's it called?
Themyscira.
Yeah, Themyscira has been taken over by this one lady who's hypnotized everyone and turned it into a spa resort, and that's where they go for the bridal shower or whatever. And it's just really interesting to me, of course someone would want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that episode doesn't really have any consequence in the end, does it? Or, no.
What are you talking about?
Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy have sex 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they get drunk at the bachelorette party.
Yeah. They have sex a bunch of times. And then they don't talk, basically, after that. After this episode for a long time, right?
Yeah. So sad.
And then we instantly get to Harley Quinn throws herself in jail?
Yeah, she just takes herself to Arkham.
Or no. Dr. Psycho has his whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dr. Psycho betrays them.
Mm-hmm.
and teams up with the Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously gets kicked out of the team. And there's that a whole thing where with Darkseid and him, and he basically they defeat him. And after that, Harley throws herself in Arkham.
Because she's sad.
Because she's sad. But the wedding's happening between Kite Man and... Oh, we missed the Joker.
Yeah, we can come back to the Joker. Just finish what you're saying.
Well, we need to do the Joker before we do the wedding stuff.
Yeah. Well, basically...
So, during the bit with the parademons, in order to fight against them, they want to get the Justice League back, so they try to find the book. And it turns out that the Joker, throughout the entirety of the second season, has been popping up as this bartender. And Harley Quinn decides...
He was just a normal guy.
He was just a normal guy who's dating this woman, and her kids feel like his. Like, he's their stepdad or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He loves them all.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out he's the Joker, and Harley Quinn needs to wake him up because he's the only one that knows where the book with the Justice League is.
Yeah.
The Joker has this whole arc where he becomes the not... He just becomes the not Joker.
Well, he remembers himself because Harley throws him back in acid.
Yeah, and he becomes the Joker again.
Yeah.
And he, goes to find the book, which is at the place of the lady that he's dating.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes and, denounces her and doesn't love her anymore or whatever. But then he realizes that he actually did, and that being with her gave him some kind of purpose and meaning in life. And so he just decides to retire from being a supervillain and becomes a serial killer stepfather.
Yeah.
Which is fucking brilliant. Joshua kept telling me before we started the show that I was not going to expect where it turns for anything, especially the Joker, and I could not be... You could not have been any more right to just Dexter becoming, or I was gonna say the Joker becoming Dexter, basically.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah, but anyway, smash cut to the wedding. It gets ruined because Jim Gordon tries to turn himself into a superhero, basically. Oh, we didn't talk about with the Batman episode that establishes Batgirl as well.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, it will, though.
But it's fun.
It will, I think, more in the third season.
It's just, we might be rambling, but there's so much to talk about because this show literally takes, fucking everything in the DC universe that's even, slightly important.
Yeah, it's so odd because there's so few episodes, but there's so much in those episodes. There's only, 26 episodes, but I feel like there's, 100 just with how much shit they give you. But yeah, Batgirl gets established basically. But Jim Gordon wants to become a superhero like Batman, so he sets up a sting off a tip from Two-Face to go and arrest all of the supervillains that will be at Poison Ivy's wedding, and he ruins it. And Harley Quinn shows up. Oh, and everybody knows at this point that Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy have had an affair because before Dr. Psycho got defeated, he projected it like them having sex into the air.
Yeah.
Because he inhabited Poison Ivy's mind for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But... let me think. Harley Quinn is there, and she tries to fix things, but Kite Man doesn't want to get married anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the series ends is, they both drive off together and they kiss.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
It's very sweet. It made me cry.
It's a good show.
It's a very, very good show. Anything else you have to say about it?
I mean, just on some general notes, just I really like the music. The music can get repetitive sometimes because they use the same themes for like every important thing that happens.
I don't know. I didn't find it too bad.
Yeah, but it's like really good music, so I don't mind, and it really keys you into
What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Brant was talking about while we were watching it. Some of the animation in the beginning, it's really good animation, but some of it's a little stiff, but it gets, like, really good.
Yeah, I was surprised because we were looking at, like, the end of Season 1, and I was like, some of this fight animation is a little stiff. But into Season 2, it's like that Batman fight scene where he gets his fucking leg snapped is so much better. Comparatively.
It's crazy.
It's crazy how different it is. And Harley Quinn has some really impressive fights, too. It's just I like the look of the show. What would you rate it?
Man, I would probably I honestly would give it like a 10 out of 10. I just think it's really funny and nice.
I mean, I would honestly give it a 10 out of 10 as well.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I honestly think it's that DC has not reinvented the wheel this hard in a long time, and I think it's good.
It is really good.
I hope, like with this, and they're more doing of like the Black Label series and stuff. I hope that more cool stuff like this happens, because it's like, I would have never thought of this kind of show happening, but I'm glad it exists.
Well, and it just makes me excited to watch other stuff like Doom Patrol, because I'm like, maybe there is something to this.
Yeah,
stuff.
maybe people are actually like not bullshitting when they tell me that DC's Titans is actually good.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to actually check those out next, probably.
Because it's like, I'm really not interested in this stuff, but if any of it is anything like Harley Quinn, then I'm like, hey, sign me up. You know?
For sure.
It's good shit.
It is good shit. So definitely, I mean, we've spoiled all of it, but still check it out. It's all worth it. It's, the third season is in the works, so we're excited. I'm excited to I'm excited, hopefully, to do another review of that when it happens.
Definitely.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you guys for joining. Do you have anything you gotta say?
Oh no, just watch this show.
Yes, thank you guys for stopping by, and yet again, watch the show. Bye!
Bye-bye.